Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Wadier.
And I'm Tommy Welling, and you're listening to the Fasting for Life podcast.
This podcast is about using fasting as a tool to regain your health, achieve ultimate wellness, and live the life you truly deserve.
Each episode is a short conversation on a single topic with immediate actionable steps. We cover everything from fat loss and health and wellness to the science of lifestyle design.
We started Fasting for Life because of how fasting has transformed our lives, and we hope to share the tools that we have learned along the way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fasting for Life podcast. My name is Dr. Scott Wadier, and I am here with my good friend and colleague, Tommy Welling. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Scott. How are you?
Awesome, man. I cannot wait to get into this topic tonight because it's all about you.
I love talking about myself, so let's get right into it.
You know, in all seriousness, stories, they have a lot of power, and when we talk about these longer extended fasts, we've gotten a lot of questions about how to actually make this happen. So tonight, we're going to be talking about your 72-hour fasting experiences and kind of what to expect, the tips, the tricks, the pitfalls, the mindset, the motivation, how you actually do it, the preparation, all of that, right? And you are the person who opened my eyes to this world of fasting, and it really allowed me to get my life back in terms of regaining my health quickly after searching and researching and trying and failing year after year after year. So these fasts, the ones that you encouraged me to do, the longer than the intermittent that I had tried and failed at, was really powerful. So I'm excited to kind of pick your brain and get some of that knowledge out to everyone that wants to kind of push the envelope, but doesn't really know where to start. So,
yeah, it's going to be a good conversation. We've gotten a few questions like that since the beginning, and we gave some people some good advice too, and help them get going with it. But where everyone starts with the fast start guide, that's centered around a piece that everyone can kind of wrap their mind around. Typically a one meal a day kind of pattern, which is really, really powerful. But it doesn't take too long before you kind of get the itch and you go, I wonder if I'm ready for a longer fast. But it can also feel uncomfortable where, it feels like you're kind of walking off of a cliff or kind of going into a dark tunnel by yourself where you say, I've never gone this long without food. Can I do it? What does it take? Do I have some sort of reassurance, some sort of confidence, with me that I can do it?
Or even just this question, why would you do it? Right. So we'll get into that in just a second, right? You're like, wait, why would you? Cause that was the reaction I got in the beginning too. My life's like, what are you doing? So you guys have noticed we've been getting a lot of questions. We've been asking you for questions. So last episode, we did a great review of some of the main questions that came in. And just keep it coming. So drop a question anywhere. It doesn't matter. info@thefasting for life on the podcast. Drop us a 5-star review through Facebook. Contact us page. Wherever you have questions, whenever it pops up, just reach out, let us know. And we're going to keep rolling out those Q&As. And if
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, right? We're getting that rolling.
Right.
Yep. So if you have a question come up, just get it to us because we've realized that there's a lot coming in. So we're probably going to be doing some more of the Q&A conversations more frequently. So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen. So I want to start off, Tommy, with that question that I just asked you and then gave you a second to think about it. A little peek behind the curtain is why 72 hours, right?
Why?
Like why
would you possibly?
Yeah, 24 hours is a sweet spot. Like so many people get unbelievable results with 24 hours. 18.6, yeah, it depends. Intermittent depends. If we're talking about, metabolic disorders or weight loss resistance or yo-yo dieting, that kind of thing. 18.6, yeah, okay. 24, sweet spot. Something special happens. But the real magic is pushing it past that. So why 72?
I love 72. I don't know. I feel like your sweet spot was a little shorter. You didn't like the 72 so much, but they were always kind of my favorite tool. I think that was because For a 48, my sticking point was always that first dinner that I was getting past, and that was just kind of a mental sticking point. So once I got past that first dinner, where I decided, yeah, I'm sticking to this. I'm doing 48 or 72, or maybe it's a 5 or a 7 day. Once I got past that first dinner, nothing else really ever tempted me or hit me with any sort of like mental sway after that. So it was always easy to stick to it. The hunger just goes down and the energy goes up. I mean, it's increasing the entire time. And what you'll learn after a few of them is the lower your carbohydrates, the more kind of ketogenic, low carb you are preparing for that fast, the better you'll be, because it'll make that 24 to 36 hour kind of energy transition a lot smoother for you. Whereas I've made the mistake of being really carbohydrate rich going into it, and let's say there was a holiday or a celebration or something like that, and then I was going to do a 72 right after that, and then just feeling kind of a crashy, nappy, feeling 24 to 36 hours into it.
Man, you just loaded so many golden pieces of information in there. So,
Sorry about that.
no, that's what I wanted to start with the question, right? This episode's about you, Tommy. So, and by the way, your unbelievable results and how you've been able to maintain it. And I know you will discuss where you're pushing to in the future from here. I don't want to go there now, but so why are you doing it? And, for you, it's the tool. It's the one that gets you in control, is what I'm hearing, gives you the simplification you need with your schedule. It allows you to, kind of navigate and enjoy, but also be able to get results. Is that kind of a good summary?
Yeah, it is. And what you really touched on there is there's a psychological power that comes with clearing out the glycogen stores, which happens in your first 24 to 36 hours of a fast, depending on how glycogen rich you are. So how rich your carbohydrates have been leading up to the fast. And there's like a floodgate that you open once you clear through the glycogen stores, and then you're still continuing the fast past that 24 to 36 hour point. That's all fat that you're burning at that point. So one meal a day is powerful because you're really only going to be able to squeeze into one meal somewhere between 600 to 1,000 calories, somewhere in there for most people, which puts you in a large deficit. Your glycogen stores are going to be down. You're going to be burning through the fat a little bit each day, on a continuous basis. But when you go into a 72 or even longer, it's just pure fat coming off of the scale, basically after day one. So you keep hopping on the scale, you may see half to 2/3 of a pound that you're down every single day. And most of that's not going to come back. Your initial 5 pounds glycogen, depending on how you eat when you come off of the fast, probably most of that's going to come back on, but you're still going to be much lighter than when you started. And that's huge psychologically.
Yeah. And it's that cue where you're like, ooh, this is working, right? Never mind, you feel better, but you see, because everybody looks at the scale. Okay. Let's just get that out there. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and it was powerful what you said about the glycogen. So the glycogen is what the short term. So if your body, say you have a big meal, lots of food, lots of carbs, your blood sugar goes way up, right? Your insulin spikes, your blood sugar goes up. Your body's trying to get the blood sugar out of the bloodstream. So it's like, hey, let's pack it in the liver, because that's what it does. It's a short-term storage, right? Mm-hmm. So you go grocery shopping and you fill the fridge and you fill the freezer. Now, if you've got a bunch of leftover stuff, you got to put it in the deep freeze, right? Like it has to go somewhere. So the body's
like, basement.
Like, where do I put this? So the glycogen, that's why I don't live up in there anymore. It's too cold, man. Too cold. So it's got to go. So that glycogen, once you get past that 24-hour mark, you're starting to really clear some stuff out. And that people get to that point, it almost seems like, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go back to doing what I just can't get past. I just one meal a day is good, right? And that's
Right.
great. You do that long enough, you're going to see amazing results. So, what do you think it is that hold people back from pushing past that?
Accountability. Oh, well, not accountability, but community. Somebody to say, hey, you know what? No, no, no. You're right on the verge of something huge. Just do that again. Okay, you remember how easy that was to get to 24, right? You just said it was no big deal. Okay, and then I had my meal. Okay, great. Just get to that point again and then start pushing the envelope. Start with an additional, who knows, it doesn't matter, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. Go past it. And then you'll see that hunger doesn't just keep coming back. Those waves don't get any more serious. They get less serious after that. And the energy actually starts to really pick up at that point, because then you start seeing an increase in your growth hormone, in your adrenaline, and you're not you're no longer having to switch your metabolism over from carbohydrate burning mostly over to fat burning. It's already switched. So then your body goes, what is this 100,000 200,000 calories worth of storage that I've never tapped into? It's like a kid in a candy store at
Right.
that point.
Right.
It has access to everything, and then it's just free to go, and it revs it up. That's why you get that 15% metabolism boost that we talk about.
Right.
That's when it comes in.
So there's one of the fears. It's, oh, I have to eat, right? Oh, I'm concerned. I get headaches. Oh, my metabolism. Oh, my
My
my wife or
genetics.
my husband, my
Yeah.
genetics, right? My
Oh, this is the
doctor.
family curse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my doctor, right? Oh, I'll be too hungry. Oh, I'll be too tired. Well, all of that is bunk because it's the actual opposite that happens. So I want to frame this, and I just came up with this. So here it comes. In the
Okay.
start, the pre-start slash start, right? The middle and the finish. So we're talking really about like the power and control that you have with the 72 hours, right?
Hmm.
And just pushing a little bit more. So we talked about some of the fears, but like getting ready to do one of these, you mentioned removing that, like a lot of people will indulge, right? And go crazy knowing that they're going to go into a longer fast if they're beginners.
Right. Yep.
And speak to what that does in that first 24 hours.
uh, it makes it to where you're a lot less excited about doing your
Oh,
next
that is
one.
way
That's
too
for
nice. It's
sure. Yeah, yeah, I know.
unbearable. Like the
No, it's
cravings, the
terrible.
hunger,
It's
you're just
terrible.
like, oh no, what did I do? And what do you want to do? Go back to it. So, for you, what do you do to prep specifically to start a 72 hour? Because you do these frequently, like the 60, the 72, the longer. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do to prep to get ready?
Well, so just to speak to that lifestyle wise, date night's a really important thing in my household and for myself and for my wife. And so that's Wednesdays for us typically. So I'm working around that, which means, so we posted about my current fasting plan right now. So I'll be starting a 7 day after tomorrow. Um, and so hold on, I'm trying to get the days right here. So when I'm designing my fasting plan for the week, I'm working around things like that. So the power comes in the longer fast. I like the longer fast. I had severe insulin resistance, just over years and years and years. So those were really, really therapeutic for me. And so to get those, I was looking at a window, usually somewhere between 48 to 72, or maybe even like 96 hours, but some 7 days here and there as well.
What is I think the 7 days, it's not about weight loss. It's about breaking habits. It's about resetting. It's about mindset. It's about pushing yourself farther. So that's a whole nother
Yeah,
conversation for another day. But
7 days are
um,
awesome.
they are. I love it. Oh my gosh, day 4, 5, 6, 7 are just amazing. So
You feel invincible at
yeah,
that point. You're
yeah.
just like, yeah, okay,
I
nothing can
want to
stop me.
I want to bring up the person that just reached out to you recently about where they're at in their process and the changes they've seen. About they're in day 9. But I think we should save that.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
we should
yeah.
save that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know. Well, I'll let you be the judge on that. But anyway, so when you're starting the process, so you really look at it from, okay, how am I going to get the results I want or maintain the results I've already gotten? Because you've lost what, 45 plus pounds? and being able to
Yeah.
keep it off.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So unbelievable, right? So this is a tool that you use and you put it around your values. So you have a date night, right? You and your
Hmm.
wife, it's valuable. So now you've got a way to plan that you're going to go and kind of push the envelope a little bit and get down to that end goal, right? So that's
Right.
something you do to start and plan. So what else do you do to get ready to do a 72?
Well, so I make sure I'm mentally in the right spot. Just pretty much the day leading up to it, where I say I typically lead into it with a one meal a day, or maybe just like a one meal with something just a little smaller before then. So maybe like a one and a half meal.
Right.
Um, I I make it a point not to go excessive on carbohydrates, because I'm just going to be paying for it the next day if I do.
Right.
Where it'll make for a rough morning and a rough afternoon, a sleepy time. As you kind of make that switch over in the ketosis, 24 to 36 hours later. So I make sure to get hydrated. Um, Good night's rest, and I try to get a lot of work done, so I'm not going to feel any pressure to um, get a little less sleep during the 72-hour fast, because sleep is just it's huge for your results, your mental stamina. um, you're like there's so much mental fuel that you can leverage during any longer fast, and less sleep just kind of drains that power.
It just like wipes it out almost. It's almost
It
like it's
does.
just it's null and void at that point. So yeah, that's huge. Is making sure you can get a good night's sleep, and then obviously removing as much stress as you can. I like to have a lot to do, so I want to kind of transition into the middle portion
Okay.
of this. What are what are things that people can look out for, or things that can trip up, or things that you do to make sure you get through that 48-hour dinner to make sure that you're going to push on and hit that 72-hour goal. What are some things that you do? I know I like to stay busy.
But yeah, busy is key, especially in the beginning, because that mental fortitude, it strengthens over time. So when you're first starting this, you're not going to have that as much. You'll get there. Keep pushing it, and if something happens, you get derailed, get right back on. Don't let it mess you up. Don't dwell on a loss or falling off the wagon, or whatever old kind of judgmental patterns that you may have from calorie restriction and really thin calorie counting margins that a lot of us became accustomed to. So just keep focusing on the wins for it. Plan out some projects, especially when you're first getting into your longer fasts, and then maybe during your trigger kind of times, like if someone in the house is cooking something that you would really want to eat, but you want to get this fast, you want to push yourself. Okay, well then maybe remove yourself from the situation, or at least be busy in another room. Go work on something. You
Leave
can
the
get a
house,
lot done,
go for a
right? Yeah,
walk,
leave the house.
don't go get groceries. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Go to the lumber store. Like start a project, but get out of the house if that's your tough time.
Arts and
Yeah,
crafts. Yeah.
100%. Go
Go to
take the
Office
kid.
Depot.
Yeah, there you go. Bed Bath
Go
and
to the park.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Go to the park. Take the dogs for a walk. Just get out if you know. So that's huge.
Go wash the
Um,
car, do some chores. Like
yeah,
you'll be amazed at how much energy you can harness, especially during some of those longer fasts. Like it's crazy as your metabolism ramps up, and then your time frees up, and you get some extra money in there too, because you're not spending it on food for several meals in a row. It adds up.
yeah. You're spending less time in the kitchen. You're spending less time eating. You're spending less time in the bathroom. Like
Yeah.
you've got a lot more time. So yeah, just if there's someone, if you have a higher stress time, or a time where you tend to if you've been doing intermittent or 24 hours, that's huge. I can't believe, man, I forgot all this stuff. Um, you know, I just forgot. I just forgot all the stuff that you kind of helped me work through in the beginning, and you had just been doing it longer than me. So you're like, no, don't do that, don't do that. We'll talk about that in just a second, right? Where
Yeah.
I messed up coming off my first 72.
Everyone
Um,
does.
yep. So what do you drink for you during the middle portion? I always like to
I
drink a lot when I start. Like I try to get like 90 ounces of water in like that first morning. That's just me.
I usually do like 36 ounces of water right at the beginning of the day, some black coffee, maybe just a splash of creamer here and there. I'll mix it up with like some unsweetened chai tea or like some vanilla tea or something like that. I keep it pretty simple, I guess. I developed a taste for black coffee as I whenever I was working out at 4 in the morning, and then I would just grab some to go, kind of
Yeah.
help me fuel up. So that's pretty much what I do.
Good, good. Anything where, because one of the things we'll hear where people start pushing through is that their body starts to level out. So, their kidneys start to clear the excess fluid out,
Hmm.
electrolyte loss, those types of things. So, like bouts of like almost like wooziness, fatigue, dizziness, that type of thing.
Yeah.
In those periods, there's some easy things that we can do to kind of keep you moving forward, because it does happen when you're just starting and figuring this out. There are
Yes.
times you're like, okay, this is weird. I feel weird. I'm not hungry, but what do I do?
But something weird, yeah. And if you're not really sure what to do, it can, I don't know, I guess it could make you question what you're doing a little bit, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that's a dangerous thing.
of course.
um yeah, I don't get those anymore, because I think when you're really susceptible to those is, the more weight you have to lose, the more your metabolism and your body composition is out of balance, the more
Right.
likely that you are going to feel those relative changes in your blood glucose, in your blood pressure, blood volume, and then you're going to feel like those just micro changes in blood pressure and things like that. So when those happen, a swig or two of pickle juice. I like even like a pickle spear. I've talked about before. Um, or you can do some trace minerals, some drops of trace minerals
Hmm.
in some water, uh, things like that. I mean, even if all you had on hand was like a couple sips of orange juice or something like that, like I don't typically
Yeah.
recommend something like that. Like,
Right.
yeah, technically, I guess you'd say it's breaking the fast, but at the same time, if you were going 72 hours and you felt a little weird, and that helped you feel better to where you could continue and finish it strong, then great. that
Yeah, and
that's
the next
that's a
time it's
win.
going to be so much easier too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went back through my journal, and it was pretty eye opening of like some of the things I was doing those first longer fasts. So
Hmm.
I was doing like sea salt with water, like first thing in the morning. Well, you don't
Hmm.
really need that, you know.
Yeah.
I just felt better about it. So when I get those feelings of like fatigue or like that, oh, kind of feeling,
Yeah.
I would do just a teaspoon of salt, of sea salt or trace minerals in a big glass of water, get that down, and within 15 minutes it was like boom, right?
Yeah.
So especially if you're dealing with diabetes and medications and things, you want to make sure that you are working with a professional, your doctor, that is knows what you're doing. But because the whole juice thing to me triggers the, oh, my blood sugar is going to get too low, I need some juice. Well,
Yeah.
no. It can if you're doing things drastically wrong, but anyone can do these longer fasts.
Yeah.
But in that, if you ever feel ill, yeah, obviously, eat, take a break, eat, and then next time you'll do 61 hours instead of 60. But a
Right.
little bit of salt water. You like the pickle spear, stick to the water and the black coffee, the tea, and you'll get there. Day two is
Yeah.
going to fly by.
Yeah. It's crazy how much easier it gets. I mean, just imagine, you're down 3 or 4 additional pounds, between this fast and the next fast. That's that much less that your body has to contend with, to try to push all the blood volume everywhere, and to just try to take care of those, enlarged fat cells. It's just it's working harder, and it it's not easy to do, and it's that much easier the next time.
Good, good, good stuff. So let's go to the third part. So when you're about to end your fast, right? What are some things that you do think about? I know it's tough because you're so routine in this now. But like, what are your recommendations for that first meal coming off your first longer fast?
I don't like to just break it with a meal, because I like to take the excitement away from that meal, because excitement after 72 hours means potential to overeat.
Huge. This is huge.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe this is something you guys listen up. If you haven't done a 72-hour fast, me and Scott, we've done it the wrong way. We've come off the fast the wrong way. So pay attention. Okay, write this down. Um, just breaking it with something boring like a small handful of almonds 30-45 minutes before I know I'm going to be actually eating, that's a big thing, and that really helps. What do you find?
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting here thinking about that. I just thinking about the first long fast I did and what I ate coming off it. I'm sure I've told the story before. I felt awful. Like I
Hmm.
made bad decisions and I ate all good, healthy food. It's not like I stopped and get a pizza and wings on the way home. Like I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, this was like grass-fed burgers and raw cheese and we had salad but I just needed to eat everything that I had been eating
a
like throughout the
buffet.
day
Yeah,
and a protein bar and this and that. So I'm sitting here going, what I do now, because I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, what do I actually do now? Um, I eat a smaller portion of the same thing that I would normally eat. And
yeah,
it used to be I would eat more, a bigger portion, or allow myself to go back for seconds, right?
right,
Because restriction never works. Like that's why, all the weight loss programs out there don't work, because 98% of the population can't stick to restriction long term, right? So, when we're looking at what I do now, is I was just thinking about dinner tonight. Typically I would have, snacked on a few things before dinner. If we were getting the kids something to hold them over, an apple and almond butter, I'd have a bite or two. And if we
right.
had some guac and some siete chips, I'd be like, I'll have a couple of these. But now I
Sure.
really just hold off on all that. And I just sit down and have a small portion, and that's it. And when I'm consistently doing that, um, in my shorter fast, because I do a lot of the one meal a days,
Yeah.
it's actually easier to do on the longer fast, which is opposite of what I would have thought originally.
Yeah, because you depending on exactly how you ate before you go into a 48 or a 72 or heck a 7 day, um, that really does give enough time for you to clear out all the old food from your body. Everything just kind of tightens up. I mean, they talk about your stomach shrinking. Yeah, there is some elasticity, there is some truth to that. So you don't need as much to feel those feelings of physical stomach distension that tell us, hey, I'm getting full, maybe I should slow down now.
Right.
So but it can still take some time, and some time for the hormones to kick in, start telling your brain, okay, time to slow down. So I would just recommend break the fast a little bit beforehand with something small. Plan to eat smaller than you think you're going to want to, and
Huge.
then just span it out over a little bit more time than you normally would. So give yourself a chance to catch up.
Yep. And you don't need, this is something I just need to say because it just popped into my head. This whole mindset of, feeding or refeeding,
Oh man, yeah.
right? You don't need
Hmm.
to refeed. Okay. The whole point of doing the 72 is to clear stuff out and lose weight. You're laughing
No,
and get
I'm
closer to your,
hanging my
and
head down.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know, I know, I know.
Oh,
I know audio medium. I'm talking about visual things. So thank you. Yeah, just you got to start losing some of that terminology, and that's one of the things that we talk about in the mindset of using fasting as a tool. And the simplification of it is like you got to let go of some of that old school stuff. So like the whole idea of feeding and non-feeding days, no, it's this is your day and this is your meal, right? And this is what you're going to eat. So you don't have to refeed, which I knew, and I still wanted to eat all the food.
yeah.
So just yeah, keep it simple, eat balanced, right? And it's going to work itself out. You'll see how easy it becomes.
Yeah, that term refeeding, I mean, it's psychologically dangerous because it has an inherent feeling that I need to rubber band. I need to make up for some of that lost time, right? I
Right.
have I have road that I have to make up for, but that's just not the case. It's the opposite, like you said.
Yep. Yep.
So
Awesome. All right. So let me go through just a quick little recap here. Just so if there's any other things that we missed out. So when you're prepping for your first longer fast, you want to avoid the big indulgence prior to. You want to make sure that you have a plan so you can get a good night's sleep. You can, start hydrated in the morning. You want to have projects and know your cues. So if a certain time of day is a little more stressful, or your family's going to be cooking dinner, go get out of the house, go for a walk, take the dogs to the park, etc.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Pause 1 second. If this is your first time going into a 48, a 72, or a longer fast, I wouldn't recommend it around a big social gathering, something important, a
right.
holiday, something like that. That it can be done. It's just there's even more resistance to a situation like that. So if you need to plan, to do it, whether it's Thursday or next Monday, push it off by a couple of days. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable and easier to kind of get through without that resistance.
I mean, I've been on a date night where I didn't have the food and the
Yep.
date night portion doesn't work. So yeah,
Yep.
huge. Never mind
Not
a
fun.
big social gathering or an occasion or
Yeah.
birthday. Yeah, not fun. Doesn't work. So um, the other thing I'd say too is on that similar point um, is start your fast with going to bed. So eat dinner,
Good point.
stop
Great
eating,
point.
and then go to bed, because you're going to get that immediate 8-hour jump start. So and physiologically, it's a good thing to do too, because you're going to clear out your blood sugar. So
Yeah, push it even more. If you're used to eating at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, go 5, 6 o'clock, four
yep,
o'clock. You're not going to be hungry by the time you go to bed,
right,
and then you have an additional, few hours to jumpstart it.
yep,
Good point.
yep. And then going through the middle of it. So stay hydrated. Drink coffee, drink tea. If you're not a big caffeine person, you can do soda water. If you do have those moments where you feel like a little, whew, like little tired, little like kind of little off, where you're like, okay, this is different, not used to this. The
Mm-hmm.
hunger will continue to go down, so you can always do the salt water, the trace minerals, a pickle spear. Stay busy again. You're gonna have more time, so make sure you get some stuff to do. And then when you're coming into the final stretch, right? You want to, like Tommy said, not dive right in and try to refeed. You want to start the process with a small, handful of something. Give yourself a little bit more time. Keep in mind that you probably need to eat less than you think you do. And you're going to be surprised at how amazing this really is.
Yeah, yeah. Restrict your options. Don't give yourself a buffet. Don't break the fast
Okay,
at
Tommy, just say it. Don't do
all
what
that
I
kind of
did.
stuff.
I get it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Don't do what Scott did. Yeah, exactly. If you don't know what he did, then go back and check the previous episodes. It's in
Yeah,
there.
you'll hear the story again. So, all right. Thank you, Tommy, for once again, man. It's amazing. We do this stuff. You and I talk about this literally every day in some form
Literally.
of text
Yeah.
or email, or I
Mhm.
updated this, or this comment came through, and I still needed to rehear what you just said. So,
Yeah, going back to the basics is huge. I mean, it's powerful, and it's fun to relive. And if you guys are listening and you're just going through it, or you've never done a 72, it's amazing. It's going to change your life, and it's going to get a little different every time you do it, and a little easier and more natural. And I mean, eventually you'll be a pro.
awesome. Cool. So as we wrap up, I want to give you guys an update. The Fast Start Guide mini masterclass. So if you've not gotten our Fast Start Guide yet, go over to our website, thefastingforlife.com, or at The Fasting for Life on Facebook. But if you go to our website, there's going to be a button at the top. You're going to download the Fast Start Guide, and that's going to give you access to our new mini masterclass, which is a deep dive. It's 20 minutes. It's 6 short videos and a quiz that kind of gives you everything. It gives you all the tools, the explanation that you need, along with the PDF, the Fast Start Guide itself. They go hand in hand. We want you to start fasting like a pro as soon as possible. You start seeing the results, you're not going to stop. So it's that simple. Head over to the website, download that Fast Start Guide, and sign up for the free mini master class. And then also, we'd appreciate any feedback in terms of reviews. We like 5-star reviews. We also like comments.
Love them.
Yeah, right. And And we also like drop some questions in there, and we'll keep putting them into our Q&A episodes that we're going to start rolling out. So
absolutely. And another quick action step for you guys: take what you've previously done for your fasting window, push the envelope a little bit. So you just heard how to do a 72 hour. Okay, so if you've only done a 24, how are you going to push it to 36? When are you going to do it? Put a plan in place for it. Have you already done a 5-day? When do you do that 7-day? So what is your next opportunity to push the envelope? That's your action step.
Boom. Pure gold. Thank you, sir. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye. So you've heard today's episode, and you may be wondering, where do I start? Head on over to thefastingforlife.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive fasting tips and strategies to maximize results and fit fasting into your day-to-day life.
While you're there, download your free Fast Start guide to get started today. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Fasting for Life.